when you are writing for TV and when you are producing a program for TV as a technician, as a production, as a man in a production, as an individual in production, as a scripter for production. These were the things we had discussed in the last classes, how different programs were being, are being telecasted on TV and how information and TV for entertainment, TV for education, even types of ETV programs, some educational, program on TV. So how these such and such programs are being broadcasted on TV. These are the things we had discussed, in the last sessions. I mean, today I'm speaking about essential production techniques. So what are the prerequisites for an individual, for a man who is working in for TV, who requires a certain amount of prerequisites. So this is what I'm going to discuss it today, because essential production techniques. Because if you are in a production unit, you should have some well versed, apt with certain techniques, and how we are going to adapt for TV. The program which you are going to make it, how we are going to adapt for TV. That is what I'm discussing about. The very objectives of essential production techniques and adapting for TV, because it speaks about the organizational background of television, and the factors that influence writing and adapting for TV. These are the things I'm going to discuss it now. So at the end of the very thing, because after listening to the essential production techniques and adapting for TV, you're going to be like you're going to learn certain things at the end of my lecture, because you understand the context of writing for TV. You are going to understand the very context, because what context you are supposed to write it, and then and characteristics of TV and other mass communications, and you are going to make some distinction between TV and other mass media communication, and what makes TV so powerful a medium, because what makes when compared to other medias, other mediums of thing, and then criteria for adopting to TV, because what criteria you are adopting, what certain criteria you are supposed to follow it, you are supposed to make it. That is what I'm going to discuss. At the end of the sessions, you are going to learn these things. I mean, so let me give an introduction about essential production techniques and adapting for TV. So television, production. I mean, that is what I'm talking about now. The very issue I'm dealing with. Television production involves dissemination of pictures with words, dissemination of pictures with words directly to the viewer's mind. We are going to reach directly the very audience, and I mean the one who is viewing. There is a viewer's mind. A moviegoer, for example, goes to the theater well dressed up and ready for the occasion. But a TV viewer, whereas the TV viewer is informal. It is not like you should dress it up and you should go. It is not formal like, because viewing TV is a part of your routine. Because even we all know that, because TV is viewing a family affair. We sit all together as families, as a family, and watching a TV program in the drawing room is not a formal event. That is what I'm giving an introduction about it, because that is what essential production techniques you are supposed to understand. What is that TV? Because to arrest the attention of such an audience, therefore, it is not easy, because when you are doing certain programs for a TV, it is not very easy to arrest the audience attention like. So it is therefore necessary to understand the background and the context of writing, but because one should understand the background of the program and the context of writing for TV. As a script writer, my dear student, you are supposed to be very careful. You're supposed to be very meticulous when you are writing. You should understand the very context and the background, essentially, for writing TV. That is what. Um then TV is an audio-visual medium, because I told you, because I discussed it, because it's an audio-visual, because simultaneously you are I mean, you are viewing the program and you are listening to it, hearing and seeing and hearing sometimes. So, picture and sound married to words, because picture and sound married to words, because how picture, how that sound in a background way, and how words are being uttered for a program. So these are all married, each other. That is what we call it as. It's a simple operation, but it may become complex once words do not keep pace with the pictures and sound. While one reads a newspaper, the reader is prepared for a cerebral exercise. That is what I tell you, because the one who speaks, the one who reads the news, you are supposed to practice it. You're supposed to rehearse it, because you are reaching out as many as to, viewers from a nuclear corner of, the world. Not like, you are not reading the news these days. I mean, off late, recently, because you're not reading news for a set of group, for a set of, place. We are reading news for the whole world. That is what you're supposed to rehearse it. You're supposed to have an exercise, cerebral exercise, mental exercises. You should have it. But TV viewer feels like watching an event or an idea converted into images and transparent is drawing room. TV programs, therefore, should be as close to reality as possible. Hence, simulated situations expressed audio visually are required to be presented on TV. Audio visually are required to be presented on TV. That is what you are supposed to. The contribution to a TV program is facilitated by, because when you are making a program for a TV, I mean, so there are certain things which facilitate. I'll tell you what are those facilitating what is that elements, and then components like. So the first one is ideas. So to a TV program, as a script writer, as a producer, as a technician, as a news reader, whatever you are, there in the TV, I mean, unit, as a unit, you should have some ideas. Then with those ideas, you should conceptualize the idea. I should have the concept of idea, and you should work on it. So how you are going to portray the idea which is triggered in your mind. That is what a scriptwriter should have it, and an artist who present these ideas. The artists, I mean, artists in the sense, because you are making use of certain, as artists, as tools, properties you are making use of, through which you are going to portray the whole program. That is what artists who present the ideas, because the idea which you have got, it is supposed to be, telecast. It is supposed to be enacted. It is supposed to be, aired. So when you want to make it a point for the airing, you are supposed to make use of the artist who present these ideas, and equipment. Sometimes equipment that transfers the idea to audio and visual images. You should see how equipments are going to be, are going to be very much necessary for a program to transfer the idea to audio, because you are going to transfer the idea to audio and the visual images. That is what. And the production team, how, because we need some production team, because everybody should be in a production team, a senior manager and technical team, even the artist, even the, because something, I'll tell you what are those things you did it in who are all included in a production team. I'll tell you in the meantime of my presentation. Last but equally important, the viewer, because you should, my dear student, you should plan it for viewer, because you are making such and such program for a viewer, not for your individual, not for yourself. That is what, because you are targeting audience or what, definitely the second person, not the first person. You are making the program. That is what, my dear students, you should have the things. That is what ideas. I told you already. Everyone has simple. Let's put the news on television, and artists, all star cast of international artists, to sometimes using the equipment, lights to produce good quality pictures, microphones to pick up the sound, and scenery, whether it be the studio and wall cyclorama, a full drama set. And production team, I told you already, because may vary the detailed production methods. Basic process must be everywhere to make good economical television programs. This is what you should see to that. How things, because program services and technical operations, engineering. Since it is people that make television, let us look at them in more detail. Production, because I told you, because who are all included in production in it. So I'll tell you the number of people working on one program in the production area, maybe as a few as two. It really does not work with one, as many as 400, because it would be like in hundreds. I mean 400, because as a viewer, as an audience, you might you might feel like how how the beautifully the program has come and gone, how that beautifully the beautiful program has completed, has ended up. But the labor behind making this such and such program, we should understand the labor of many people and more people who have worked for a program. That is what. The basic role is to think of ideas, because the basic role of the production unit is what they should always think about ideas. This is what idea I should do. This I should do that. I should give some fresh. It's a fresh idea. Nobody has copied. I should give some, goosebumps to the audience. The audience should never, imagine the way I have presented this content. The people should not even imagine. This is how, the idea should always think in that way and translate them into television. It is as simple as that. Although their actual jobs within the station may be many of it, because sometimes not only the idea is supposed to conceptualize, you should have other works also, like program controller is they are controlling how you are going to control the very program. You should execute it. And program director, the one who directs the whole program. Executive producer, because he borrows the idea. That is what I was reading this book in the morning. How executive producer works on a program. He himself he himself generates the idea. Even sometimes he borrows the idea, he works on it. That is how the producer works on it. The director, he directs the whole concept from beginning to an end. What should be there, what should be the background, how things should come in the beginning, how things should get ended up in the beginning and the end, how things should move on in the middle of mid of it, mid of the program. This is what the director always thinks it, what tone should come, what the background should be like. The director plays a major role in making the program, as we all know that. Script writer, even script writer, I told you, because how script writer should have a time limitation, time frame. We are supposed to work for time frame, and how we are going to write it as a spoken language, not making use of first first person language. This is a script writer, and you should see that how make people reach through this ad. This is what a script writer. Script writer is it's a informal, not the formal setup. How grammatically it would be like you cannot follow the grammar. Where when you are writing the script, you are supposed to know the syntactic pattern, because I've seen many advertisements in English, even translated into my native language. How syntactic pattern is what do we say? Um, you are not followed the syntactic pattern, because you have violated the syntactic pattern, as I meant to say that. Then newsreader, how newsreader is supposed to rehearsal, has to rehearse, man, he has to give some cerebral exercises. That is what because actor, how actors should be dressed up and makeup, even expressions. Because I told you in the last session how the close-up shot should be in a TV, which is very different from the theater, which is different from the radio, which is different from any other medium, even film. But TV is a tiny. I mean, because the actor should know how he's going to give expressions in a close-up shot, like production assistant, research, how he's going to research assistant, how he's going to collect the sources of information from various sources. This is what the job of the research assistant and director's assistant, because director assistant, he should see that how he is going to make when you're when you're at shooting, because the director assistant should see all such things, because should make all things through interviewer, etc. Yeah, how interviewers should ask the interview, and how to conduct an interview, how is is supposed to bear all such things, and smiley. I mean, it's supposed to see that how the question, the way you're asking the question, the answer should not be like yes or no question. This is what all such things when you are making a program. This is the production unit I told you. I mean, even I speak about the producer is the producer. Uh, just a minute of time. Hmm. Uh, uh. Producer is the producer. I told you, because the person who has the idea, who buys the idea. Because I added already. The person who has the idea, producer is. the person who buys the idea, the person who writes the idea script, who buys the talent to write the script. Because producer is the one who always invests the money, as we all know that. How he is going to write the idea, write the script for TV. I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the film. The role of the producer in a movie is different from TV, because in TV the person who writes the idea script is also a producer to some extent, and uh, extent who buys the talent or write the script. That is the thing is all about. The person who controls the facilitates and people working on the program, and without himself necessarily being technical and creative in any one of these specific areas, the producer should see that how he's going to control the facilities, how he's going to facilitate and people working on the program without himself necessarily being technical. In any other specific, he should not enter with that. The person who controls the budget, because he's the one who always looks in terms of budget, so which what amount of thing should be spent on it, and how we are going to control it, limit your budget, the place, the location, the dress, even the background, stage, everything. The person who controls the budget, because he should look he should look into the budget in terms of how he's going to manage it. The person who thinks he knows what the viewer wants, the person who thinks always he knows the what the viewer wants. That is the producer's job. Is all the task is of producer is what he should know what the the viewer of TV, TV audience really expect it. That is what director. As we all know, the director is the person who interprets the idea. I told you already, because director who directs the idea, who executes the idea, which is conceptualized by the producer, sometimes the script from the script writer, who turns it into people, shapes, sounds, images, even he adds mood, and he communicates the idea to the viewer, because he is the idea he has got, the idea is borrowed from somebody, the idea is being executed by the director. The director is aiming at what, how I can transact this idea to the audience in an effective manner. This is what the director always thinks in that way. He pulls together many skills, because he should understand he pulls together many skills and craft sometimes, and puts them into shape. In terms of the craft and artist skill, he may well be superior to the producer, because he's very superior to the producer. As a student of this course, he should know how a director directs and executes the idea which is given to him, and which he has he conceptualized. Responsible to the producer and answerable to him for his action, because for every means of his action, every means of his action. Uh, the producer is very much answerable to the director. This is what the concept of director. And floor manager is a director representative. The floor manager, you should read it for yourself, because it is there in the book. He relays messages from director to the people talking about in the program. That's what floor manager works about. And producer's assistant is the senior secretary who joins the production as soon as possible. And in the pre-production stages, because even I had I have played I have played certain roles in films and theaters. So what producer's assistant is what, before anything who come to the come to the very come for shooting anything, like for the matter of fact, you're supposed to work it in in pre-production stage, because everything you have to practice the rehearsal, dialogue. You should know how to give expressions and equipments even, and what is to be anything, because generator, you have to see that how generator should give back even there is no current. That is what this is. How he is going to control the people when you are shoot when there is shooting area. That is what is he always thinks of it. Administrative problems or film location, keeps a short list and gives them editor and cutting order. The gallery calls the shots and looks after timings. He looks the shots and timings and the program. It does liaison with the administration, producers, final cost. Everything he works as a middleman, and not like a middleman. He works as very creative, because creatively between the producer and the very program, the actors like. Technical manager is a charge of all technical facility in the studio. He is book special equipment for the director, and it should be available for technical advice. any time during the preparation of the program, because technical issues will be dealt by the technical manager and sound supervisor, as we say, the senior audio engineer in a production, audio engineer, because he mixes and balances all the sound sources. Vision mixer is the person who switches, mixes or vibes the pictures to the director's instructions. In some programs like sport and current affairs, the director may do his own switching sometimes. In addition to these key stuff, there are many others, as we have already seen: makeup artists and costume supervisor, scene staff, cameraman, and so on. Everyone is important for the production, my dear students, and all should work as a team under the leadership of the director. And like the artists, they are too all human beings and should be treated as such. They are the members of the production team, not part of the equipment. That is what. Excuse me. And then program services. Well, the production area offers the ideas and the people to translate them to transact it. Even a small television station needs a program service area to offer practical backup to production. The area known as program services covers. You should set the design. The first point is set the design and graphic design, costume design, makeup and scenic construction, and studio management and film services, special effects, sound effects, and properties. These are the things you are supposed to get ready with. These things. I'll repeat it again, my dear students, for information, for a great understanding. Set design. You should have a design on your own. You should the very idea which should be designed. Then graphic design, again you have to have it. Again, costume design. Costume design means costume designer. You should get the help from the costume designer. You should have a costume designer is ready. And makeup man should come. And scenic construction, how the construction, the scenic, to beautify the program. And studio management, how studio is being managed and maneuvered by technical staff. And film services and sound effect and properties. That is what they are given you some introduction also here. Technical operations and production and program services. So there are many things you should read on your own. Then the varied skills needed a program services sections, or the varied skills is needed. So those, what are those skills? Designers, artists, draftsman, then hairdressers, and seamstresses, seamstresses, carpenters, scene shifters, projectionists, floor managers, vision mixers, and film cameraman and film editors, film sound recordists, property buyers, set dressers, assistant floor managers, painters, and so on. These are the things you are very much needed and required for a program to be telecasted, for a program to be planned. So that is what technical operation I told you, because already I will tell you once again. A member of the production area will fast turn an idea into a workable script or program shape. Program services will add into television. Sound and pictures, my dear student. So we need lights and cameras to see, the microphones here. Technical operations relate to production of light. Technical operations relate to production of light, sound, and vision. Within the studio, the people in the area are lighting directors, technical managers, sound supervisors, vision operators, electronic effects operators, and cameraman, even engineering and videotape, repair and maintenance, lines communication, switching, and transmitters. So an outline chart of typical program shows how this area or different groups of staff fit into each other. So the different area must work together while preparing the program. The work and different areas must join together in the studio such that all merges into a good television production. Everybody should, because that's what unity is done like. Then the viewer, you should have always, more focusing on. viewer, she or he is at the bottom of the chart because he or she is at the end of the channel of communication that is called television. In fact, he or she is the most important item in the list. That is what the viewer. They are very much important in the list. Remember that, my dear student, it is the viewer who pays for the program, whether through advertising revenue, license money, or government's grants via taxation. But even more important, remember that without viewers would be no point in making any program. I will repeat it again, dear students, for your greater understanding. Without viewers, there would be no point in making any program. That is what you should understand it, because you are making a program for the audience, for the viewer. Without the viewer, no program can be what planned. So that's the difference between TV and other media. I'll give few, tips about how TV is different from the other media. So mass media deals with the information. Mass media, as we all know, in modern parlance, information is power. In modern parlance, information is power. Finger is at your fingertip. Anything you want to have information at your fingertip, it is there. So, and therefore, control of information inevitably becomes one of the fundamental levels of power. Hence, the character of a state in a given obviously tells upon the information scenario. The Indian media comprise the press, the electronic media, radio and TV, oral forms like village chapels, opinion makers, and folk art forms, etc. But in control of the state direct mainly over the two electronic media, whereas the control over the press is not direct. By the large, these three areas from the fourth estate which provide the basic information input. Though there are a number of points of similarity among these three, yet they differ from each other in terms of their role, reach, and in fact the human minds. That is what, dear students. A newspaper, for example, provides news analysis, and an overview of socio-cultural sports seen over the past 24 hours, deadline being 8 o'clock on the previous evening. A newspaper provides an opportunity to a reader to read the news or a feature article. But the electronic media, I tell you, my dear students, the very TV, provides such an opportunity to the viewer. It's the language, presentation, and writing for TV, and has to be very simple, lucid, and instant. That is what, when you are working as a script writer for the TV, you should know how, the language which is being used by you should be simple, lucid, and instant. The stresses and either the picture of the sound. That is what you should know that, and how ideas transforms into images. This is what you should speak it about. Uh, how ideas transform into images. The distance between germination of an idea to its information into images is nothing short of a long distance hurdle race. Because that is what I tell you. Because I told you as in the beginning itself how uh, how the idea is much and more, very very crucial, thing in in making a program for a TV. That is what transformation into image. How idea is going to transform into images, nothing short of a long distance hurdles race. There are several stages before the actual transformation of an idea into images takes place. For example, my dear student, let us take the idea of public purpose ad insert over the TV about cholera vaccination. So that is what you should think, that the ideas to be conceived. Cholera vaccination, you are supposed to make a program, my dear student. You should, beginning what you are supposed to do, you should conceive the idea. Idea should be conceived by you first, at first. The idea is to be developed again. After conceiving the idea, you should know how to develop the idea, how you are going to put it across the idea, how many characters to be included in the event. You are supposed to think of it. So how many characters to be included, because for the program cholera vaccination, and what time the sequence is to be shot, and what time, because when should be shot it down. The idea with detail will have to be reduced to camera script, because the idea which you have got it should be reduced to the camera script, which contains all the information necessary regarding short detail sound. Because whatever the necessary elements, you're supposed to make it reduced and shortened and curtailed for a program So of an hour, of an hour or for an hour, even for 10 minutes, you should know how you are going to fit it. Your program you are going to fit it within the time frame. You should also think all that. Then regarding short details, sound, etc. Once the camera script is ready, the actual script has to be written keeping in view of the requirements of the camera. Once the camera script is ready, you should see that how we are going to make the corrections, how to go to, how going to fit the for the camera things. Then the age, relationship between characters and event sequence, everything should be done coherently. Then comes post production work like editing, graphic illustration, and finally it is ready for the telecast. So that is what. Then comes post-production work like editing, because you should know how after directing all such, you're transforming the idea into images, into some other, actions. So after done everything, after being done everything, you should know how uh, post-production work like editing, graphic illustrations, and finally it is ready for telecast. That is what. And finally, it is telecast on a given shot in the transmission time, because the time is allotted, the time is scheduled for you to telecast the program. So by using all such phenomenal things for a program in a TV. That is what. And satellite broadcasting expanding frontier, because till then, the frontiers were not, crossed, the very limit. We were bound within the, time frame, and we were bound within what the radius, vicinity wise. TV signals. I mean, talking about satellite broadcasting and expanding frontiers. TV signals beamed through a transmitter can be multiplied manifold if the same signals are transmitted with the help of satellite. That is what. Satellites, geostationary by nature, do serve a greater area than any terrestrial transmitter. The command area of a given satellite is much more than of a transmitter. India has a multi-purpose satellite called INSAT series that provide telecom facilities, weather information, and Doordarshan network services. This is what. The first satellite TV experiment was carried out with the Intelsat satellite in 1975-76, which social service and education programs were telecast. The experiment became successful. Thereafter, terrestrial transmitters provide rural TV and service. That is the one thing you should understand. You should know that how the first satellite TV was experimented, was carried out with the Intelsat satellite in 1975 and 76. How social service and education programs were telecast by means of satellite, by using the satellite. The experiment became successful. Thereafter, terrestrial transmitters provided rural TV service. Everybody has got TV in these days. Even I'm from my village. I've seen in my village everybody has TV. Even those days, people were calling, people were telling like whoever whoever is rich, they're having TVs at home. But it is absolutely wrong nowadays, because everybody has TV in their homes. Everybody watches the program. I mean, even cable, is very much connected to by means of satellite broadcasting. Everybody, is this one. That is what. The satellite thing combined with microwaving has made possible availability of live coverage, same-day coverage of news, sports and cultural events of national importance for on the spot and immediate telecast. That is the satellite broadcasting, even expanding, the very frontiers. This is what where everything can be shot within no time, because a live program can be even aired, can be aired. This is what the very benefits these days. That is what satellite broadcasting has two aspects, my dear students. The one is uplinking of a program from the studio, and which is beamed to the geostationary satellite, and the same is reflected to the down and transmitted in the ground. In this way, not only more areas can be covered by satellite, but ultimately per capita expenditure for reaching out becomes much cheaper these days. After uh, not like employing, adapting satellite broadcasting, even the economic cost of even reaching the very audience is much and more larger. Even the economic cost is also very cheaper. That is what. Uh, this because how both video and audio signals, along with the dope sheets that contain communicate short details, which is popularly known as inmarsat technology. For this kind of transmission, one need to book satellite timing. If the particular location transponder is known to that small gadget, basic news items can be transferred. Such technology came in handy during the Gulf War. That is what my dear students in this unit in the third unit of it, I'll tell you what is that. We had discussed about how essential production techniques, how TV is an audio and visual medium, and those characteristics I discussed about how production unit, because how many sub uh, subunit subunits in a production unit. How what is producer is, what is director is, what is floor manager is, and what is producer's assistant, and technical manager and sound supervisor. So how program services goes with so certain things. That is what I had discussed about how the varied skills needed for a program service station or and lighting director, technical difference between TV and other media, and satellite broadcasting we had discussed about, and how idea is going to transform into images in a TV presentation. This is what we had discussed about. My dear students, there is a picture also. There's an image in the book. If you have a book, you can view the image, and also the regional service, satellite linkages, because where satellite is linkaged. So the first in Jammu and Kashmir is there satellite linkage, and Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and Orissa. So there are certain places in Karnataka, state in the northeastern region, and microwave linkage is Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and West Bengal, and Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. The first spacecraft and the INSAT second series was launched in November 1991, and the second spacecraft is to be launched in the end of 1992. This will be followed by the launch of three satellites under the series during the period 1993-95. The overall availability of transporters for TV use under each of the insert second and series will be second. That is what the student should have the idea how satellite and satellite broadcasting with the help of satellites, how the cost, how the how by means of satellite broadcasting, how they are reaching out the even the uh, village, even to the village, even to the urban, everybody, each and every newcomer. That is what. So even studio floor live in transformation is there in the book. You can see hanging camera, teleprompter, and TV monitor, newsreader, script, floor manager controlling the whole newspapers. There's a picture, right? Students, you can have a look at it at your leisure time. And now making a news bulletin. The next program, I was making a news bulletin. Now, is okay. This is okay over. Uh, this one also. Making up a news bulletin. How we are going to make a news bulletin. Sources of news. How we are going to source the news. The first point is sources of news. Making up a news bulletin. There are two sources of television news. Broadly speaking, one is the visual source, and the other is non-visual source. So you're going to solve the news from the visual and non-visual. These aspects have to be borne in mind while preparing and adapting the matter for TV. Generally speaking, the television, generally the television newsroom, which ultimately works for the end producers. Uh, It's for sports only. There are two other sources of gathering visual news. For example, events which are offered by different visual news agencies, home or foreign, which come through air service, still photographs which are supplied by news agencies, and those items which are available through satellite communications, so offered by international visual new agencies. Besides these, there is another very important component which contributes to the making a news bulletin. That is the contribution of graphics and computer graphics. That is what how you are going to source the news for the news program. So I told you because broadly speaking, one is the visual, the other one is non-visual. How we are going to get the information from news agencies and different agencies for the news. Therefore, a TV newsroom should be able to gather news events covered on camera. This is what you should look at it. How the camera in a newsroom is covering and gathering the news events covered on camera. News gathering for television. Besides, the manner of news gathering, as explained above, different handmade or printed graphics, charts, captions. Sometimes you should give a caption, immediately, instantly, either written manually in a stylized, manner of, through computer graphics and enrich television news. The latest computer graphics is called Paintbox. The latest, you should remember it. You should register, this word, which has made available a wide range of visual compositions. The computer graphic equipment is invariably accompanied by a camera system from which visual presentation and graphic composition can be recalled for direct feeding into bulletins. I mean, for the news. I mean, the computer graphics invariably accompanied by a camera system from which visual presentation and graphic composition can be recalled for direct feeding to bulletins and collection of visuals, reporting on camera, as the ultimate in television news gathering, generally alerted by news agencies, teleprinter, or news scan service. That is how collection of visuals and satellite communications, international and domestic satellites have opened new avenues for instant, submission of news events covered by TV journalists all over the world. In India, Post and Telegraph micro links provide a wide range of opportunities for dissemination of news events. Besides this, India is a member of the Asian News Exchange cartel known as Asia Vision, and it is also linked with international, for which it gets news clippings from all over the globe. That is what you are making a news for, not your country, or for making a news for the whole world. And nitty gritty of TV's news production, marrying words with visuals. I had already explained about it. Television news production is another area of specialized operation which deals with the final output of the news bulletin. In Indian situation, the news editor who commands a battery of scriptwriters organizes, writing or scripting news for visuals. The next is news time. News time in the sense you should see how we are going to schedule the time for it. News editors, news correspondents, and news producers represent three streams of news production besides cameraman, sound engineers, and host of technical staff. News production is a teamwork activity which starts from watching of wire agency copies till the end product as transmitted from the TV studio. This is what the news time and news as image builders for TV and marketing strategies for TV, because commercial stations in the consciousness of the audience, the public's stations are perceiving the private TV producers as competitors. There are many TV, there are many TV channels these days, because in my place, in my state, I mean Karnataka in India, I could see many channels were in my place. So that is what there is a competition, much more competition, because TRP, they are supposed to work for TRP, and every time and every minute of time it's challenging for the script writers, production unit, even whoever works for TV. That is very challenging. News programs as the flagships of television stations do not just simply mean prestige of a network. That is what news as image builders for TV and marketing status for marketing strategies for TV news. The call for more entertainment and information program has created a hot debate among journalists and media researchers. The debate concentrates on the question whether marketing models and stages can be adapted for TV news or not. Marketing strategy. With the development of a market situation in the field of broadcasting, marketing has become unavoidable, but a still controversial topic for the public stations. So the two elements of news, I mean, information and entertainment. I told you because even I discussed about how TV is for entertainment, information. Must achieve a balance in the present. However, it is not yet clear which is the two elements attract which audience and to what extent. That is the thing is about. The next, point is keywords. I'll speak about, uh, similarities between television drama and theater play. Even there are, key answers here, and you could, see that you could read this. How uh, drop sheet, geostation satellite, special effects, transponder, wire agency text. You can read it out. So plays and serials, I mean. In plays and serials, it speaks about the essential requirements of a television play and distinguish between a TV play, stage play, radio play, and a film. And you're going to analyze the structure of a TV play, and you're going to write a TV play on your own because you're going to be a script writer for a TV play and TV series and develop analytical capability and broad guidance for scripting and appreciate TV series. So that is what the this unit I'm going to speak it about, and factors favoring television. I'll tell you what factors are going to favor the televisions. Now, the biggest factor favoring a television is that it's a visual medium, as we all know that because we are almost crossed such and such the basic of it. And in a country like ours, it's slowly but steadily extending its reach, and more viewers outside the big cities, with the increasing number of television transmitters being set up. Programs organizing in a big city can be beamed to towns far and wide. That is what, being a visual medium, it has the appeal to cinema to the viewers in general. Many regard it is a mini cinema in the home, and any variety program or entertainment is very popular with the audience at large. That's what I'm telling you at a larger, concept. I'm speaking about how these days, for people who are working for TV, television, is very much challenging. How the competitions between from one media to from one TV from one media to the other media. That is what. So much more competitions. Even it is quite very good for for passing the time for at the leisure time at the leisurely time from the audience. That is what. Similarities between television and drama and theater play. That is what. The actors hears their lines as a whole as they do for a stage presentation. As we all know that the actors hears their line as a whole as they do for a stage presentation. In this respect, a theater artist works different from the Sinistar because Sinistar is different because I told you because when you are working for a TV, working for a movie, when you are when you are what do I how do I put it? Because when you are shooting, when you are covering the whole situations, you are only capturing the expressions of the actor, whereas in the theater it's different because he has to rehearsal it, he has to have a body language wherein stage because the full of the actor would be could be viewed by the audience, could be estimated, could be measured by the audience. That's what who does just a few shots a day and is not required to know all his lines in one time. It does not also need because it's a live program because theater is a live program, TV is a recorded one because it's because we shoot step by step. That is what because even it is for the reason that television dialogue demands an easy pace and flow as does theater dialogue because flow as does a theater because theater dialogue is a pace, it's a something flow. But whereas in the television, dialogue demands an easy pace. Sometimes you should, the recording will be a different, the acting is something different. Recording. So after everything is recorded and on TV on for any program, you're making use of the but audio recording will be later part of it. In theater, the audience feels that the actors are performing especially for them. This is unlike the cinema where the actors do not appear live before the audience. They're not live audience because in TV we never see, we never touch them, we never experience them, we can only look at them, we can only view them, and with different background, different sounds, effects. That is what you can see that. There is thus a deep sense of immediacy in theater, which is to be shared in a television play. Even through the viewers know that they are watching a recorded TV play. The play has the generic quality of always taking place in the present of this gives the TV theater that extra touch of intimacy which is absent in the film. That is what extra intimacy from the audience because after the show, after the show in theater, you can go and meet the actor. You can shake the hands of the actor who has done really well. Whereas in the TV, you cannot do that. That is the difference. You can see the similarities between television drama and theater play. Television drama is something different. Television is more action and less dialogue than the stage play. Well, less dialogue because more action, more expression, more music, background music. It has its own subtle way of conveying meaning by means its camera close up on the face or a hand gesture, which in the theater is often conveyed by words. Because in theater, it is always conveyed by words, by actions, by more body language and theater. But whereas in TV, that will not be much and more, when compared to the theater, man. So the use of the symbol has been known in the theatre since the very early days. The place right of the stage play is still under the disadvantage. The TV playwright can, by means of his direction, focus the audience attention to any of the particular part of the stage or on any actor, any object of the unique technique of the close-up. That is what. Let us take two examples to make you understand of uh, the differences between television drama and theater play. Uh, because one from play written for television and the other from a play written for the stage. The TV play is Samuel Beckett, but the stage play is by Shakespeare. While the stage play is by Shakespeare by Samuel Beckett, and the stage play Macbeth is for the stage play. Compare the lines from these two plays and see yourself how the language of TV is played. Director read those sentences, and because the first script which is done for the TV, and the second one is for the Macbeth. I mean, it's done for the uh, theater play. That is what. Precise. See how the language of the TV play is direct, precise, and without any flourish, while the language of the other is poetic and ornamental. From A. Joe by Samuel Beckett. So one from a play written for television and other for play written on the stage. The TV play is Samuel Beckett. Let me read, the script of it. For the TV, see, I'll read how, the script is scripted for a TV program because it's a Samuel Beckett play. Woman's voice. Zoe, eyes open. Resumption of intense. Zoe, full intentness, full intentness, Zoe. Thought of everything, forgotten nothing. You're all right now here. No one can see you now. No one can get at you now. Why don't you put why don't you put out that light? There might be a louse watching you. Why don't you go to bed? What is wrong with the bed, Joe? You changed it, didn't you? Made no difference. Or is the heart already? Crumbles when you lie down in the dark, dry rotten at last. Yeah, Joe. See how sentences are fragmented, how pass is given very much because from one sentence to another sentence. See, thought of everything, it's a question mark. Forgotten nothing, that is what. Whereas if for the theater, see, let us turn to the excerpt from Macbeth by Shakespeare. First witch, second witch, and third witch. How in the beginning, scene of the Macbeth, the play of Macbeth, how the witches communicate each other. All the three witches communicate each other. See, first which speaks about because you should have an assumption, you should have an imagination how the theater play is going to be enacted on the stage, the way in which uh, the stage gets enacted. See, first which comes on the stage, the audience are looking the live action of the play, how the dialogue, the first dialogue of the theater play. This is what here, as a pursuant of the course, you are supposed to understand how you are supposed to write a script for the TV and the theater, because you should know the difference. I mean, you're writing, because how the dialogue was very much fast and given more fast, and the sentences are very fragmented. The ideas are even fragmented here, from one idea to another idea. Whereas in the theater, you cannot, give any fragmented sentences. You're supposed to read it loud. See, one shall we three meet again. The first which speaks about in thunder, lightning, or in rain. The second which speaks about when the hurly burl is done, when the battle's lost and won. Third which, that will be ere the set of sun, because before the sun, first which, where the place, second which, upon the heath, third which speaks about, there to meet with Macbeth, first which, I come, grey Malkin, all paddock calls anon, fair is foul and foul is fair, hover through the fog and filthy air. These are the theatrical expressions, my dear students. See how sentences are coherently, without any pauses, without any uh, stops. You're supposed to deliver the dialogue. Whereas in the case of TV, see, eyes open, resumption of intentness, because you are saying eyes open, resumption of intentness, and so full intentness, thought of everything. It's a sentence. Forgotten nothing. You're all right now. Yeah. No one can see you now. No one can get it now. At you now. These are the things you are supposed to have a look at it. I could have made this slide, but I have not done it. But when you have got the book, you could get into that, because so structure of a TV play. How the structure is going to be for a TV play. A TV plays can estimate either from life around us, from history, mythology, day-to-day social problems, or even pure fantasy. It could even rotate around an event that takes place on certain day. That is what Ramayana, Mahabharata, how episodic, those programs were being telecasted for years together. Even there are many serials in my place were being telecasted, because when I was studying my post graduation in English in 2000, even those plays are being still telecasted. That is what rotate the event and takes place on a certain day, but it is more television writers respond to see that the idea having originated thus and must be fashioned into something dramatic that is of absorbing interest and include characters that seem to be drawn from real life. So that is what structuring a TV play. There are two kinds of plays based on situations. There are two kinds of based on situations. One dealing with individual problems and the other dealing with the social problems in general. Social problems. The selection of material for the play has to limit itself to an interesting episode. See that how we are going to end the episode today, because you should end the episode at an interesting point of it. The interplay of characters involving complications and crises, and form the core of the situations. It is the development of these complications and crises that feeds to the climax in a play, whether it is on the stage or on television. That is what you should see how you are going to structure the play. Again, development of characters, situations along expected lines will create no surprise in the audience and will fail to keep the absorbed. That is what, if a play has to be dramatic, there should be a building up of tension and its release. That is what you should see, that how characterization should be done, how dialogue should be delivered. These are all certain things. A script writer, you are as a you are in a production unit, and a technical manager, production assistant, whoever you are, like, you should know how to dialogue, how the dialogue should be delivered, because dialogue is used only when absolutely necessary in TV. Not everybody, because dialogue will not be very more. Whereas in theater, dialogue is the more and more, content of the theater plays. That is what similarities of television to film. How that, because I told you, because how similar between television, drama, and theater play. I think you must be, you must have understood it. How television to film. TV play and a film is viewed through the lens of camera because both are one and the same. This is the most common factor in both TV and film. Though the television camera is different from the cine camera, both use a range of lenses and shoot the subject at various distances according to the demands of situation. Both are, to some extent, to the larger extent, one and the same. That's what the camera which you are using, uh, which are being used to what to shoot the subjects at various distances. That is one and the same. But however, it is important that writer, while scripting, should keep in mind that his work will be seen through cameras, which can capture different subjects at different angles, giving enough scope to pan and track and the present dramatic effect that he wants in the play. Though the producer may not use all the writer's suggestions, though the producer may not use all the writer's suggestions, you will be able to get some idea as to what kind of effect the writer has in mind by way of treatment. That is what, though the producer may not use all the writer's suggestions, you will be able to get some idea as to what kind of effect the writer has in mind by way of treatment. That is what I should think it. TV plays viewed on a screen TV plays viewed on the screen, and because of this, television has borrowed a good deal of the grammar and punctuation of the film. That is what you should see, that how the grammar and punctuation of it. The television screen is smaller than the cinema screen. That is what I'm telling you. The similarities between television and film. So smaller than the cinema screen, but the TV screen is more intimate than the cinema because I told you, because you need not be very formal. You need not be like like cinema. It's a program of it's a program of 2.5 hours or 3 hours maximum in whereas in a cinema program. Whereas in the TV screen, it's a routine it is like. So that is what intimate is present it present in our home. It can come and as and when we wish at the turn of a knob, but being a smaller screen, it cannot show anything on the magnificent scale like the cinema screen. Films like Ben Hur, I think must have watched Ben Hur, and Cure Verdis would lose their spectacular effect when seen on television because that's what sometimes I also feel like whenever mythological films or are being shot. The mythological films are being shot and screened on cinema theaters. I prefer to go to cinema theater because I want to see the effect. I want to enjoy the effect. I want to see the making of various cinema. If you watch that cinema on your television, this will not give you much more effective and much more satisfactions for your it's like an understanding for your much more satisfaction to your heart, something for your entertainment. The for your sense, I mean talking about. Television can handle small groups of individuals in smaller frames and portray their feelings, emotions, and thought powerfully rather than concentrate on big scenes and settings. Television plays are usually concerned with people rather than things, where they are concerned with things. Usually in their it's usually in their relation to people. Unlike the stage, both in television and a film, action is not combined for long periods to one set as we should see in the theater. The action is mobile. Difference being that in film, the action is more mobile than on television. In television, the number of sets is limited, and the action can flow from one set to another. Whereas in the television, the number of sets are limited. When compared to the cinema, limitations are set by factors such as time and space. Even time is also because I've seen in my place how television director, television producer who comes to my college, who shoots sometime for half an hour, like. Whereas in the case of movie, cine shooting, whenever even in my college, there When my college is a old college, very oldest college in my place because it's a 12 years old. My college is about, almost about. So people come to my college for even TV productions, even for film productions. So I've seen both the differences. How TV productions they come with a limited source of thing in it, because when cinema comes, the whole college gets closed. Even we do not have space to conduct the class. The whole team, like there are more what we say that cubicles, and even more buses would come, cabin crews, film crews would come, and when film, I mean makeup man and sound effect, I mean clap boy, production manager. I've seen how the lengthy, I mean, of cinema production like. That is what I'm telling you. The similarities between television drama and the theater play. I mean, similarities between television to movie. One area where television and film closely resemble each other is in the use of sound and vision simultaneously, because vision is same and sound effect, which is more used more one and the same. Television uses the same grammar and punctuation as in the film. Even television and the film are the same, because I told you, because it's an informal set of things, because it's a spoken. You are supposed to have a write a script for as a spoken dialogue. Then, like in the cinema, the television writer must be able to work out his synopsis, like in the cinema, how he plans to get from one scene to another, from one sequence to another. That is what he should work it out. It's a very, uh, very risky, job. Very risky job for, for a assistant, director here, because he has to work it out the synopsis, how you should the plan to get from one scene to another, and from one sequence to another. This is what somebody should chalk it out. The film is made on the short at a time without the sequential order, which gives ample scope to cut, edit, and mix in the lab before it takes the final shape. Whereas in the movie, film, I'm telling you. While a television program may be produced live, which means it is being transmitted while it is being produced, it may also be recorded on video, tape the film for telecasting at some time in the future. Some are produced without, altering the flow of the program, and then presented without any editing and alterations. The second method of video taping involves recording in sequences and then all put together by the editor. Even we have, that is what difference between radio and the television, because we had discussed about how structure should be for a play, and similarities of television to film, and difference between radio and the television. Now uh, I speak about TV play and radio play. So TV play, because the radio writer can use his imagination, let his story wander where it will. Radio, when you are discussing about the scenes could be set in the faraway places across across the ocean. There is absolutely no limits to the variety of scenes the writer may create. The action in his program can take place. The variety of scenes the writer must may create. The action in his program can take place in different surroundings each time. He can use cars speeding down highways and through tunnels. In short, the writer for radio can use unlimited ways to create the desired effect, and listener's mind, and all this will not cost him anything extra. But in television, the writer must be careful and certain about where the story is going to take him. In visualizing characters, I'm talking about my references, make it a point here. Visualizing character, the radio writer has to think in terms of voice, international, regional accent, and vocal mannerisms. Not much attention is needed for the physical appearance, because if at all you want to telecast air international programs, only say radio script writer should concentrate on only the accent and the sound sometimes, and you are supposed to speak it up. But whereas in the TV, the much physical appearance is very much required on TV, because the writer must part with the information, and he has on each character to the designer, actor, makeup, and costume people, so that they know that he does have the complete idea about the characters. That is what. Let us take uh, uh, The television is a visual medium using both and sound and vision to get into a message across. I'm telling you. It is usually preferred to make a visual link and the narrator, who is invisible, can be done away with altogether. Television does at times use a narrator and watch this appear on the screen, but the writer does not use him unless he has very strong reasons for doing. So that is what even they have given two plays also how radio play and the TV play, how radio play is scripted here. This is what your it is given for your reference in the page number 747. We should read it once. Scripting a play. Scripting a play, construction of a TV play requires a string of scenes, just as a wall would need bricks and bridge, still girders, and the scene could be live. It may have been filmed, or it may be mix of foreground with film background. But whatever the composition, the scene still remains the unit of composition. It is by linking scenes into sequences and setting the sequences one after the other in a mounting rhythm that a script is built up. What is television scene? The word scene figures in theater, film, and even in the novel. In each of different meaning. In television, scene as a definite meaning. A scene is one in which a continuous piece of action takes place in one shot. That is what. The cut, the mix, the fade, the of sequences. I mean, when the word continuous is very important, whereas in the scripting a play for a television. That is what. So, what do I say? Characteristics of a series and serials and soap operas. So, let me speak about series and serials and soap operas. Serial broadcasting has many phases. It has two subformats, series and serials, and soap operas. Have their only distinct complexion and structure. Though apparently similar, they are distinct in terms of frequency, content, structure, pace, and duration. You should have the idea, my dear students. During the 70s, I mean, British television carved out a compromise. They called it series all. Series all is a long-running series. Each episode is offering complete story. Now, you see, let me explain, such and such things in the way of in the ways of points and the header of the point. The series have generally a weekly appearance, whereas the soap opera is telecast 2 to 5 times a week. Indian television, however, so far kept it down to twice or thrice a week because you should understand the time schedule for it. How series and serials and opera, soap operas, be telecasted. In structure, each series has a beginning, a climax, and a set end. The soap opera, on the other hand, is quite flexible without any well defined beginning or end. It has just an endless middle. The ongoing business of the soap opera stickness its pace, slackens its pace, whereas the series have comparatively faster pace and more actions. The series have a finite number of episodes. In contrast, the soap operas have the ongoing quality with no fixed number of episodes. In our country, both series of soap operas are telecast at the prime time. In the West, soap operas were shown during daytime. The most important difference between the two subformats is in their content. Soap operas are serious, not satires and comedies. The serials, on the other hand, may have any face whatsoever. That is what. Another point of distinction is the habit-forming quality of the soap operas. Serials engage and hold viewers only for a given period of time. They offer entertainment and information without addictions. Therefore, so that is what characteristics of a series and serials of it. That is what, and TV writer in the creative team. This is what I'm supposed to give it a point like. TV program making is essentially a cooperative operation. It's a cooperative operation. It's a technical complexity, my dear students, makes it inevitably so. The writer has the pleasure of watching the skeleton of his script become the flesh and blood of the program because you should see how the writer must have the basic skills and talent of a playwright. The writer who is supposed to be a script writer for the program, he should have the basic skills and talent of a playwright. Registered, my dear student. He must read a good deal. He should have a good deal. You should take the things done instantly. You should know how to write creatively in visual terms, besides having the ability to maintain balance between form and the content. You should have the idea how you could express it creatively and visual terms, besides having the ability to maintain balance between form and content. It should be a combination of a writer and a script editor. I mean, TV writer. It should be a combination of a writer and a script editor. A TV writer should have that quality. I mean, he should always be willing to modify and this man. He should have the modify it and rewrite it, and all of a sudden, because he should see the situation and the context of it. He should rewrite and she modify, remodify it. The writer, while writing, should be able to imagine everything on the screen. Writing for TV is not the same as from the print media. That is what he should see that. The writer should understand the basic techniques of TV production, because the writer should have the concept, should have an understanding of what is to be written basically for basic techniques for TV production. He must be as comfortable working with images, with words, and he should know the art of combining both. His style should be natural. His sentences should be simple. It should be very natural, and sentence is simple and direct and incisive. He should develop the capability of delivering results even under serious pressure of time. Television is an hungry medium. It's an hungry medium because it's a quite challenging job, because you cannot work uh, uh, leisurely, because in radio you can work leisurely because to some extent, but not in the point when you are working for a TV, you're supposed to be very serious. It consumes scripts and ideas. Something ideas you should have it, conceptualize it, and you should scripts. Here the writer faces the challenges of offering a fresh look every time, because you have to hook the audience with your fresh ideas, fresh creativity, and fresh imaginations. That is what you are supposed to work it as. And a writer should also find his own style of telling the stories. He should know, he should devise your technicalities of narrating the story on your own style with the visual images. For a TV writers, he should have the talent as to view the subject into a story that could break into episodes. Therefore, in case of a serial, he must have the inbuilt continuing element. These are what a TV writer in the creative team, a writer should have all such characteristics, even the qualities a writer should go with when you are working for a program, you're working for a TV. That is what you are if you are in a crew of the TV. The script, the script I should speak about episodes and languages, because selection of the subject theme paves the way to developing the rough outline of the story, because it's very important, because you have got the idea, you have got the creativity, you have got the imagination, you know how to modify it, remodify it, and read it, even for to some extent, even natural sentence should be simple and direct and incisive, should be very specific and meticulous, and scripts to ideas. These are all things we have discussed with. The script, the script, places in a very this thing, because selection of the subject or theme paves the way for the developing the rough outline of the story, and it's a principal character. It need not to be a tight work, since it should allow for improvisation and flexibility. For a series, the outline may identify the beginning, climax, and the portable end, because you should see how climax, how the mid end, everything should be done it. So then, to ensure that a serial or a soap opera does not drift away too far, the storyline should be kept in creative sight and check, because the storyline should be kept in a creative sight and check. Indian TV, a soap for included series, all serial, soap opera, and all under convenient category serials. That is what a script, plays a major role. And the episode, the writer has then to punctuate the outline into episodes, because You should develop the very story, and you should see that how many episodes can be done on a particular subject, and how many episodes you are given for developing the program on a particular subject. That is what language. The language, the dialogue portion, the script would depend on the theme, because the language you're preparing is the language should be the country language, is the police language, is the country, because it depends on the characters how you are going to write the language for each and every character in a play. The subject really demands for it. A story, environment, nature of the events, and the individual characters. That is what language is all about. The basic script, after due amendments, is written in two parts of each page, divided into video and audio components. Video portion includes setting movements, action, etc., while the audio part includes which elements as dialogue, recording, and sound, music. On this script is based on the camera script, which is further organized as production schedule. The TV writer should understand all this, my dear students. Though he is primarily concerned with the basic script, given below is a sample of what is the basic script looks like. The dramatization of ideas is that you are studying for a studying. So see the video script of dramatization of ideas. They have given two sides of it. One is visual, the other one is audio. So for visual, you are supposed to plan it out, because you should have a your set of the plans. Dark stage, a man is walking back and a book forth with a book in his hand. The man is in limbo. In the audio part, Hamlet, to be or not to be, that is the question, whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die or sleep. So on the second point of it, camera pans to the presenter sitting also in limbo. Hamlet's voice fades as the presenter begins to speak. The presenter, we are watching a performance of the, this is in audio. We're watching a performance of the famous monologue of the play Hamlet, Prince of Denmark by William Shakespeare. The monologue is a used to articulate the inner conflict of a person, a dialogue that a person has with himself. Monologues are something we constantly have whenever we have to reach the decision. For example, when you go shopping and see something we like, we ask about price, look at the article and enter into debate. It is too expensive. Do I really need it? It's good for the price. And finally, yes, I will buy it, or no, I will give it a miss. So, presenter, let us look at the except the last wedding anniversary written by Shiv Kumar. By Shiv Kumar. Cut to a presentation of the play that is in a visual manner, a scene in the play. This is what, if you look at it, the very example as a basis below as a simple sample, you really understand it. Then formats and themes, formatting, because serial broadcasting initially encouraged and adaptation classics and contemporarily major works written and published in weekly parts. These provided ideal cutting points. My dear students, the writer must respect the work he is adapting. Being a script writer, you're a writer, you should respect the work he is adapting. Over reverence, however, may become a serious handicap. The writer, by reading and rereading the work, should thoroughly soak himself in it, because he should understand, deeply. Adaptation needs bold cutting, elimination of parts and characters, and transposition parts. The most important objective is to ensure that the original quality should come Sharat Chandra's Srikanth, Sri Lal Shukla's Rang Darbari, and the Gyanpith Award winner Asha Purna Devi's Pratham Pratishtuti can be quoted as instances of a serial adaptation. Color TV has given spur costume serials like Ramayana and Bharata, because color TV, which are very much attracted for an audience to look at the costume of the characters in Ramayana and Mahabharata, for example. Thrillers. Thrillers are usually the oldest form of the serials. The first episode poses the mystery, because if you are working for the thrillers program, It should so the first episode should poses the mystery, introduces the cast with a murder situation. Then, while the second episode rises the doubts, the subsequent episodes build up to the climax. That is what you are supposed to do it. I read again, my dear student, for the thrillers, for a television script writer, a writer should have the idea, because you are as a production, as a man of a production, as an individual of a production unit. The first episode poses the mystery. The mystery is posed in the first unit and the first episode. In the second, wherein introduces the cast with a murder situation. Then, while the second episode raises doubts, because why that murder was done, what for, and what it really because audience should have go with what happened next, what happened next. With the curiosity they should go with. Children serial For a children's serial, action and adventures are very popular with children. Such scripts like Chota Bheem in my, I've seen Chota Bheem and Raju, Mighty Raju. I have a simple action, packed storyline, short scenes, and a small recognizable costume serials are also very popular with children. So, is music and the musical. Always there should be some music. There should be some song. Chota Beam, something there should be music, there should be song, there should be pace, there should be octiness, there should be some, animations even for some time. Even science fiction brings excitement to millions, because even I like very science fictions, because it's a era of science, because it's an era of discovery, inventions, even realization. And it's not the era of superstitions, because everything we always go with science. Even I go with science, and anything I go with objectiveness. I'll think pragmatic. I'll always think about science fiction. So every screen writer should have adequate understanding and background of science, because although BBC's Doctor has impressed millions, the BBC telecasted a program like Doctor, which impressed very millions, and Indian TV has yet to screen indigenous science serials significant merit, because they are not done yet. They are supposed to do that. Then soap operas. The storyline of soap operas is broad-based, allowing the endless development, simple presentation, slow pace, and a major distinction of every soap opera. Scripting soap operas requires teamwork, because you should work together. The team has to be under command of the chief writer, which controls the storyline of the characters. A gifted junior writer with experience, perseverance can hope to be the chief writer of the stage. Sharp imagination, a writer should have it, to write script for soap operas. Vast experience you should have it, and deep study of life are the main tools for producing a successful soap opera, my dear students. That is, this unit gets ended like even uh, now writing for TV, because this unit I'm speaking about TV ads. I speak about TV ads, how TV ads is helpful. TV ads, because uh, television has been derisively called the idiot books. We know all that, because it is also known as a tube. The tele is simply TV, and by many other names. Some of the names or definitions have a pejorative connotations, some others grudgingly admiring. And advertisement, something like advertisement, because this can be done in a variety ways, like broadcast mode, transmission, cable TV, closed circuit TV, CCTV, and facsimile transmission, fax, satellite transmission, optical fiber transmission. So, 20th century phenomenon, which is essentially technological nature, everywhere, because technology is ubiquitous. Everywhere, technology is there at your fingertip. Electron transmission pictures from one page to another page. That is what, for example, uh, a TV ad. A TV ad, talks about what is TV ad. An ad is created for cinema all audience. Is sometimes aired on TV. Does it become a TV ad? Can it be called a TV version? That is what. Television is an intimate medium. It responds well to intimate, personalized messages. Mystics does to work very well on TV. That is what ad. Uh, Structuring TV ad. When you are with some, if at all you want to structure a TV ad, you should follow certain things. I'll tell you what are the certain things you're supposed to follow. You're supposed to keep it in mind. Let us structure a TV ad. Pluto Industries was not launched an instant of coffee. They tentatively call it for a gold blend. They have a Nescafe as their competitor. Nescafe has a near monopoly in the market as an instant, cent percent coffee. Most of the brands are coffee chicory brands. Product profile. What is the USP? It is coffee with higher aroma, a cent percent premium coffee. What is the price? Slightly higher than Nescafe. This is what you are supposed to make it. What are the distinctive features? What is the wrapper color scheme? Blue and white, also white lid. Let us structure a framework. These are the things you are supposed to keep it in mind before structuring a TV ad. Because what is the price? Slightly higher than Nescafe. And product profile, what is the USP? It is a coffee with higher aroma, a cent percent premium coffee. These are the certain things you are supposed to make it a point well in advance. A few observations uh, because higher aroma is strong. USP in the case of a reinforcement would be complete if the coffee is called aroma. These are the things you should make it. The storyline is also there. You can read it for yourself. Uh, I'll definitely, because the time is running, uh, short of time because running out. The unit introduced TV ads and the generates. It showed you how either the ad appeals to the needy, already there creates a need. If the product is relatively new, the visual and the oral, both aspects are important TV ad. The illustrations are merely suggestive and not prescriptive. Basically, if you are able to sketch matchstick figures, you can conceptualize an effective ad. We strongly suggest that you continue to collect TV ads, the script and the visuals, and maintain a file. This is the only way you can do these activities in the given unit I'm talking about. That is what you should know how to structure it. And video magazine, TV and video magazine is also there here. Uh, Writing pictures and TV ad. And video magazines have to be understood from the context of viewer's mindset, because video magazine you are supposed to understand the empathetically. I mean, from the viewer's mindset and the subsequent demands of the viewer on the video magazine. The category of video capsules are seen by the viewer entirely by his or her choice. Television, including Star TV and also with the cable TV, which has been legalized recently. As a result, the viewer in India today is a wide range of products from which he can pick and any choose, because there are many TV programs. You could, choice it, you could pick it up and you could see that. That is what. Uh, During by the video magazine and treatment, the producer has to plan. The producer has to plan the blueprint of the treatment as comprehensively as possible, because you should think about how you are going to make it as comprehensive as possible. Then while shooting on camera, it needs to be innovative, because everything needs to be innovative. And even when you are video magazine, I mean, that is what I'm talking about. It is expected that pair of eyes should pick up something catchy and interesting from the viewpoint of a television story. Then, while editing the item within the parameters of the time available in the slot, the item should be so editing the item within the parameters of the time available. The item should be so edited that the viewer's attention arrested and the message is driven home. Thus, my dear students, producers of video magazines easily fall prey to the temptation of excessive editorializing. Though it is unavoidable, video magazine producers should bear in mind editorializing should not be allowed to cross the limits of tolerance while depicting stories related to the violence and communal rights or any other item having potential of inciting passions, my dear students. That's what Rama Janma Bhoomi issue. Then Chandrasekhar comes to the power. There are many, incidents which are given here. You read them up, and you should understand why. When you are, making it, you should be very careful when you are video magazine. I mean, doing it, you should be very careful. Uh, the TV and video magazines end with the soft stories relating to the sports and culture or human interest, and TV and video magazine. The techniques of writing and presentation of video magazine items are necessarily treated with innovative computer graphics presenting various techniques by the students of freezing the frame, Using the split screen in which different segments of a given frame gets examined, the production requirements and compulsions are similar to other situations. One need to bear in mind the typical demands of the medium and introduce appropriate variation in it while writing the script, my dear students. So nature of writing for TV and video magazine can be some that way for your greater understanding, my dear student. For while writing a TV and video magazine script, you are supposed to follow certain things. So they are, it demands style in conversational tone. So when you are writing a script for the video magazine, it demands the very script demands in a conversational tone. Writing should be integrated and the visual inputs including computer gimmicks and narration for anchor person should be short. Narration part should be very short, interesting. Even it should create, should hook the audience to be attentive and personalized. And the magazine should end on a note which would enthuse the viewer to look forward to the next edition. That is what, dear students, when you are writing, edition, you should be very careful. Like so, that's what television document writing for a documentary, steps in document writing, script writing for a public purpose, ad film, shooting script, shooting schedule, tentative screenplay, and sounds instructions, principles of production. So you are supposed to follow all such things because television and documentary, dear students, writing for the television, I'll tell you that later part. And television commentary. While writing script for a news film and advertising film, as one has to keep in mind visual possibilities of the script with the writer as in mind. Writing for documentary, in contrast to ad films and news films, documentary is very different, my dear students. So don't a script should be followed even for the documentary. It's a span could be anything between 20 minutes to 120 minutes, sometimes 2 hours. Like it could be serialized as well. It could be aired episodically. Then treatment with the document is very different from the treatment of an him or news film, where the time span is very short and one has to hit the point directly because you have to hit the point directly, whereas in the documentary steps you are supposed to follow when you are writing documentary. After the selection, you should select the theme. The message should be churned by the producer director in his mind, and research should be initiated of the theme because when you are doing when you are making a documentary, you should collect the should research and should churn the information both by the producer and directors. Here the stories regarding the burning out of the new market building in Calcutta. Hence, the first step would be to conduct research about the area because you have to conduct the area, you have to conduct the situation and the economics, politics, and sociology of hog market as it is known to the 19th century. The next step, because first step is the theme, and next step would be the making of the film treatment. The line of the story, you should take it up. The line, imaginatively way of narrating the theme, because how you are narrating the very theme when you are making a program for a documentary, and culminating in the shooting script because you should incorporate in the shooting script. After having arrived in the shooting script, after having arrived After having read the shooting script, which will give an idea of visualization, it will have to be made into breakdown script which will narrate shot number one, and summary of action, costume notes, properties, and cast. This should be, you should make into, divisions like, shot number one, uh, short summary of action. The second part is the costume notes. The third part is and properties and cast. You are supposed to make it, divisions when you are arrived at the shooting, script. You should have the idea of visualizations, which has to be made into breakdown script, which will narrate in this thing. The next step will follow the technical filing, which will include cost of location, COST, cost of location shootings, studio recording, and graphic treatment, and sound effect, and visual effect, editing, cost overheads, other expenses. So you should have all such things in your mind. So when you are documentary script writer, you are supposed to follow these technicalities, my dear students. The technique part is like studio recording. The first part is, and graphic treatment after studio recording. Even after sound effect, you should give it, and visual effect you should make it a plan, and how to edit it, and cost overheads and the regular expenses. That is what planning a stage for documentary will be incomplete without a total pen sketch of its production. Planning a stage of documentary will be incomplete without a total pen sketch of its production, because you should have a pen sketch in a paper, in a empty paper, in an empty state. Cost time frame and shooting schedule and editing schedules worked out. Planning stage of documentary will be incomplete unless a total plan sketch of its production, cost time frame, and shooting schedule, my dear students, and editing schedule worked out. Once that is done, producer will feel the impact of preconceived visualization of the theme. Once it is done, the producer will feel the impact, the very effect, the impact of it, preconceived visualization of the theme, because he started, preconceiving visualization of on the particular on the given subject. Then will come the detailed scenario dialogues. Then will come the detailed scenario about dialogues, even after dialogue narrations, and involvement of shooting personnel, because shooting team should come there, and the actors cast. I told you, because how actors are given the role, and actors are supposed to play the role. They'll play the roles. Handing up documentary shooting of library material, huh? Because since you have researched and to prepare the documentary, in the given station, the pen sketch and subsequent scenario will narrate the entire sequence of shooting and role of the anchor person, his acting schedule, and visualization of his presentation of the theme. Therefore, from the aforesaid, it will evident that the basic grammar of film making being the same. News film, ad film, and documentaries vastly differ in treatment, fulfill different roles as per viewers' expectations. Should see the viewers' expectation, how viewers expect it. That is what the thing is about. Now, script writing for public purpose in film, and shooting script, and shooting schedule. You should and medium long shot. LS is a long shot stands as, and medium long shot stands as MLS, and medium shot MS, and medium close up and MCU. Close up means CU, and big close up BCU. So that is what the shooting script. The shot number, whether exterior or interior you're going to shoot the incident, the location you are supposed to fix it well in advance of the shooting, the time of the day, whether the day should be short or the night should be short, and there's some more specific time is important in the script, such as dawn or twilight hour, even the night sometime. That is what. So that is what you should have a plan, because whenever you should make a plan when long shot should be made, and medium long shot should be made, and medium shot is okay, and medium close up is required, and close up is okay, done with it, and big close up is very much needed. So that is what we should think it. The shooting schedule I'm talking about, my dear students, as a because my thing is coming to an end. The shooting schedule means what is the duration of the ad film and how many characters are in the film. This is what when you are fixing the schedule, when you are making the schedule, you are supposed to have certain points, certain not like elements, certain points to be remembered. What is the duration of the ad film and how many characters are there in the movie? The first point is. The second key point is, what is the profile of the audience for whom the film is being projected? This is what the second point. Subsequently, and what is the specific message of this ad film? This is what you are supposed to think. How much money in the advertiser prepared to pay to do the film, and what is the deadline for the completion of the project? A shooting schedule, where before fixing the shooting schedule, you should have you should bear such and such things, points in your mind before getting into the action. That is what. Uh, Principles of film production is also there here. And let me talk about writing for television and children. Writing for television children, I'll speak about how introduction, because writing for television needs special skills, and writing for children in addition requires even greater skill and understanding, because for writing script for children, which demands, in addition, requires even greater skills and understand, because you are going down. You're supposed to make the children impressive, entertain, and make them like immersed in their own imaginations. Because while watching the very programs which is being telecasted, which is being aired by you, the children should should be lost themselves. That should be the program, because they should copy it. Because in my family, in my home, my daughter, who is 7 years old, who is into second standard, who always acts as Chota Bhim, who acts as Chukki, it comes and hits on my face. Because the very program which is being telecast, which is very impressive, which is very much etched in the sense, which is very much making them to imitate. uh, that should be the problem. That is what, while writing the script for the children, it really requires even greater skills of understanding. I'm telling it. First and foremost, a television script writer needs to know the nomenclature and terminology of film and video. That's what. See the target audience, because a writer for children programs needs a much greater understanding of his target audience than a general script writer. That's what Meera the Agni notes, that in India, producers who are asked to produce children's programs are also involved in the production of million of other things. Small wonder that children's programming has got almost nowhere. Children constitute a special audience, and a children's programmer needs a special skills and knowledge. Because I'm telling you time and again, my dear students, because if at all you want to write a script for the children, you should know the children's. I mean, you should have a special skills and knowledge. Because I'm telling you again, you should go down. You should stand in the place of the children. You should think empathetically. You should see how the children are very innocent in their own way. So that is, so this unit deals largely with the special needs. The children are not homogeneous category, because they're heterogeneous category. Because you cannot because we elders, we adolescents are always one and the same. We always think in a logical manner. Whereas you cannot expect the very children the logicality of the children. Logical skills are very less in the children, among the children. They want always entertainment. They always want to entertain, and when they want to they want some adventurous thing. That is what, because as we know that, because you are writing a script for the children, you should know the age group of the 3 to 6 years, children are preschool age group, we call it as, and 7 to 9 years old, because younger children, even they called as, and 10 to 12 years, they are older children. Because for them, you are supposed to write a script, my dear students, because after 12, there are programs you have discussed already, with so forth. But when you are writing a script for the children, you should keep in the mind, you should bear such and such things, factors in your mind. So you are writing for the children, because they are innocent. They do not know anything about the social behavior. They do not know social engineering concepts. You should see also, because the grouping above represent different target groups for the programmer with their specific needs and capacities. Therefore, a children's TV programmer must select his target group, because he should select for which group I am supposed to write a script. He should decide it, and he should start it. I mean, neither scope nor space to explore detail. It simply provides script writers for children a direction in which to move. That is the thing is about. Even my dear students, basic rules for scripting children's program. I'll tell you what are you're supposed to keep it in mind. Let me summary of some of the general requirements for children's programming. Uh, so that is what the vocabulary with which operate is also very limited. Words like idealism, liberty, manipulation, etc., may not be understood by the child, because you're not supposed to make use of jargons and big words, because those going to reach the students, because you are supposed to make use of very small sounds which are very simple, like that's what, because who is a child? It is not enough to say that the child is a young adult. Certain differences between the adult and the child need to be understood, because you should see how you are going to differ from adult to the child. That is the thing is about. A young child obviously lacks the years and experience than the adults. That is obvious, because we all know that, because the very child which is growing, which is really the experiences which is very not much experience the way child is. That's what. A child complex relationships because he should not make use of all the complex relationships. The intricacies of human relationship and the compulsions of characters and motivation would confuse a child. That's what good or bad. Avoid presenting complex characters and complex human relationship in children's programs. If at all you want to become a writer for children's script, avoid presenting complex characters and complex human relationship in children's programs. That is the third point is short programs, episodic in nature, and covering a short time sequence make good viewing for children. This is what should be simple and crispy, and it should be easily understandable to the students towards the children. This is what they should do that. And lastly, small children love repetition. Most children of this age love to read the same story over and over because even my in my home, my daughter uses to ask me, tell me, they narrate me the story because I used to make her understand in my own way, narrating the narrating a story, taking her as a taking herself as a subject. I will make her concern. That is the a programmer, a scriptwriter should have the imagination, should have the idea before making any program for it. That is what most children of this age allow to read the same story over and over, sing the same song like Twinkle Twinkle the Star, How I Wonder. Because even I sang it, and my daughter is singing. Even his generation is going to sing the same song and recite the same rhyme over and over. The child is love. The repetition may drive members of the family mad, but she enjoys every minute of it because you might feel very bad in a family, but she enjoys it. She enjoys it. So I have seen many students who are still uh, what I mean, rhyming, we are singing the rhyme songs. That's what even however, repetitions in television program needs to be done innovatively without being boring and terrible. Because you should see that how we are going to make it innovatively, not making people bored, not making children bored. That is the thing is about. And repetition and variety go hand in hand. You should see the innovative hand. It should go with the repetition. You should go hand in hand. That is what the basic rules for scripting children's program. You should keep them in your mind when you are scripting script for the radio. And then production process and research is also there, and formative research, the content of children programs, exploration, knowledge and information, you should have it, and orientation towards what is that, and then learning skills, storytelling, problem solving, multi-purpose. So these are all the certain things you are supposed to do that. And preparing the script, the last presentation of the point of mine today is a good script writer should have the visualize creatively. I'm telling you, dear students, you should keep these points in your mind always. If at all since you are pursuing the course writing script for media, radio, and television. If at all you want to be a good script writer, you should have visualization creatively and write for the year. Directly he should hit the audience. I mean, directly for the year you should write it and focus attention, and then counterpoint visuals, because you should see a good script does not insult the viewer's intelligence by using the visuals that directly show the what the commentary talks about, because what the visualizing effect is going and what the pictures are coming out. The need for centering, never talk down to a child, because you should not discourage the child, and keep it simple, my dear student. You should make it a simple attention span. You should see that production elements, because the attention span of the child would depend on the specific age group, because the pre age student, preschool group, 3 to 6 years, their attention will not be much and more attentively. And production elements, you should see communication scholars and program designers need to work together to explore the impact of different production attributes. And cultural specificity, you should see the cultural specificity. If you are telling, if you are if you are producing the same program from Indian concept, you should see the cultural specificity. You should make use of those things in it, because so that the children can understand, so that an audience can into it. They can into it. Avoid metaphors. Don't expect children to catch abstract symbolism. The Lord is our spearhead. Shepherd will mean just for the child and nothing more. Humor, because you should make use of more and more humors in children's script, because Most children love to see and read funnies and slapstick humor and falling and tumbling and turning. They roll on the floor. Usually, never fails to evoke laughs, jokes, and nonsense. Also appeal to them. That is what I should make use of all such things. This is where I know my presentation is ended up. Uh, so, if you have any questions, dear students, you could write it in the mailbox. I told you yesterday. Uh, I can answer it. Uh, any because this is where I my things get ended up. I think
Yes, sir.
please sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's not a question, but
Ah,
a request. The request is, please, should you please, may we have the lecture paste on our LSM?
yeah. Yeah, I'm not getting you so properly. Can you repeat it again? Pardon, sir.
I say, sir, can we get the lecture
Hmm.
paste on our LSM?
Communicate the lecture.
Yes, to paste it on our LSM.
Was it haste?
Can we have it on our LSM?
Ah. So you just write it in the inbox, sir. I'll definitely answer to those questions.
Okay.
Ah, anything. Shall I stop? If you have any questions, queries, sir, just call me back on my number because my number is you can take down 7829 seven eight two
Okay.
nine 7829 299 400.